A very special Saturday night Dynamite took place, and there was some good stuff here. Legit, there was some stuff that I thought was very good. There was also some stuff that made me personally want to change the channel, which means AEW is on the screen. Okay, all right, let's get into this show. You know, I can only put it off for so long. Match 1, Dante Martin versus Malachi Black. Malachi Black wins, of course, because he should. Dante Martin put up a pretty decent fight. The match was probably too long for my taste. Lio Rush was very disappointed at Dante Martin for getting knocked out. Then Malachi, after the match, he actually nodded to Dante Martin in respect, which, you know, it's a little too early for Malachi Black to be doing Undertaker stuff. You can't really do that yet. You ain't got them stripes yet. You've been in the company 4 months, maybe. Like, you're still embroiled in a feud with Cody. You know, you probably want to wait a little bit before we start doing this. He's giving guys nods of respect. Like, relax on that. You know, just pull that back a little bit. He should be still be the heartless villain. You know, establish the character as a heartless villain first. There's too much of that trying to mix the streams. Come on. So later in the show, Lio Rush and Dante Martin is with Tony Schiavone. Lio Rush said that it was growing pains that Dante failed and it was his own doing. But that, you know, Dante Martin just didn't listen to him. But from now on, things are going to be different, because Dante Martin has got a new partner, and his name is Lio Rush. And Dante did a good job selling that, you know, what on earth are you talking about? You know, because, you know, his brother is his tag team partner. So that's going to be a nice little build up. You know, it's going to be a situation where Rush and Dante are going to be partners. They may start winning. They may start doing some stuff. And then Dante's brother, you know, his injury is over with, and now he's get to come back. And it's going to be Dante torn between the two. Him being, I'm guessing he's going to be somewhat successful with Lio Rush. I don't think they're going to be the tag team champions, but they're going to be somewhat successful. And then his brother's going to show back up. You know, theoretically, that's how it would go. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't do this pretty quickly. You know, but I don't know how long his brother's going to be out. So it gets Dante on TV. It gets him. They're still doing my little buddy system, which, you know, everybody can see through now. And it's crazy because Lio Rush is like literally 5 years older than Dante. Maybe 6. I think 7 at the most. How old is Lio? 25, 26? And Dante is 20. It's like, you know, I don't know if it quite works that. Hell, Lio needs to have a mentor, you know, especially with his attitude, what got him booted out of WWE. But in any event, I like Lio Rush. This whole thing with Dante could be interesting. It has a lot of potential, which means it's probably going to get shoved on dark for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, and then they're going to show up 30-2 or some shit. And I'm going to be like, what? Who did they beat? It's going to be like the Gun Club and random tag teams of guys who was from Full Impact Pro, or, you know, random tag teams from House of Glory or something like that who are brought in to do jobs. And none of it's going to mean anything because they're going to lose their first televised Dynamite match to a real tag team. I can just see that stuff coming already. You know, theoretically, they would be on the show pretty much every week, winning swift matches, gelling as a team, you know, Lio giving advice and that kind of stuff. You know, really building the story on television, because it's not like you got anything else to do. You know, you're painfully thin on storylines on this show. But since we are talking about storylines, Cody is still embroiled in his storyline with Malachi Black, which is going to be Cody Malachi 3 next Saturday. So how is Cody going to prepare? Well, Cody is going to the Nightmare family, where he gets called out by Red Velvet And Cody has a Rocky montage where he's in the ring with Arn outside the ring, and he's calling him out, telling Cody to take all of these guys out by himself. He's forced to train with them, and it's like 4-on-1, and they're all tackling Cody and knocking him down and running circles around him. And we get the old boxing the boxing thing where you go wee, and he's like, what's going on? We supposed to have, your ears are ringing and you're confused. You're like, what's going on? And then it stops and Cody's like, Arn, what is this, Arn? I ain't learning shit. Just getting beat up by these guys. I ain't learning shit. So then Arn starts telling Cody about the time Dusty did something dastardly to him. And, you know, he wasn't going to let the people down. He said the people weren't mad at me, weren't mad at Dusty, rather, because he did something terrible to me. I earned it. You know, I had it coming. And he says, Malachi Black, he's got it coming. And Cody's like, and then he starts fighting him off. You know, just little stuff here and there. I know. I love this. Okay, I'm sorry. I like this. This was good. Right? This was good. It's simple. You know, it's a simple Rocky story. The Eye of the Tiger. You know, Cody, you know, got a little too Hollywood. He got a little too up his own ass. You know, he got beat, got embarrassed. Now he's been sent back to the dregs, back to the bottom. And he's like, I gotta learn all over again. That killer instinct. In order to stay on top of my game. It's a good story. You know, unfortunately, Malachi Black isn't doing dastardly heel things. He's nodding in respect to young wrestlers like, good job, young man. He might as well just raise his hand in victory and show them off to the crowd. If anything, they should have had Malachi Black absolutely destroy Dante Martin. Kick him in the head 3 or 4 times. Run his head up against the ring post. Do all kind of horrible stuff to him. And Leo just like, come on, man, that's enough. Stop it. And Malachi Black's like, nope. And maybe kicks Leo too. You know, to prove that he's out of control. He's heartless. He's evil. Yes. Whatever Cody got planned for him, he does deserve it. Because he's a straight up jagoff. But it ain't what we seeing. And plus, I don't think a lot of people are over Cody. As far as, matter of fact, scratch that, reverse it. I think people are over Cody. Right? I think people just want to boo Cody. They're at the point now where they're just like, look, Cody's going to come out here with this garbage. You know, this ooh entrance. Boo. He's going to come out here dressed like Captain Crunch. And it's going to be bad. And we don't want to see this melodrama, this garbage with Mr. Cody Rhodes. We don't want no part of it. Send his ass packing. But if he comes back serious, this could be good. You know, if he comes back with a killer instinct, this could be good. You know, I want to believe. You know, it's like I want to believe. I want to believe that this is going to turn out okay. I just wish that Malachi Black was as bad as he should be in order for this story to work. Unfortunately, it seems like they're halfway turning Malachi Black babyface. And now Cody's going to be like, what? Is Cody going to turn heel? I know that's what a lot of people want. And that may end up being what happens, whether they want it or not. If we being honest. At this point, they kind of lost the plot. All right, so the Elite jumped Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy backstage, beat them up. It looked real bad. Kenny Omega looked like he didn't make contact with any of these strikes. It all looked awful. This leads to, oh well, here's an interesting thing. CM Punk talks about the Young Bucks wearing fake J's, which I thought was hilarious. He says, unlike me, I wear real J's. Okay. Well, he acknowledged it. You know, it is what it is. But since we're on the subject of the Young Bucks, and plus this ties in very well, the Super Clique defeated the Dark Order because of course they did. But not before two guys from the Dark Order stopped the Young Bucks from kissing Adam Cole so they can kiss Adam Cole in an absolute Looney Tunes segment that made me so damn sick that I wondered why I was spending that Saturday night, outside of the fact that, you know, I'm just tired from work. Why am I spending a Saturday night watching this garbage TV show? Why am I watching this garbage TV show? Somehow they got the shoes of the Young Buck off. They took off his sock. And Evil Uno does Socko. And the crowd pops. And it's all so stupid. It's all so corny. It's all so awful. All of this is awful. But here's something I want you to pay attention to. Go to Adam Cole's entrance during this match and notice something that I noticed almost immediately. Those huge pops Adam Cole got when he was first coming in, they're almost gone. He still gets a decent reaction, especially when he goes, baby. That's still there. But that huge reaction he used to get as soon as his music strikes, it ain't there no more. It's been diminished a lot. They got Adam Cole under. They didn't get him over. They've taken him under. This is not good. This is not good. But what is good are the drums on the Young Bucks entrance theme. I don't know. Just today, I just happened to listen to it, and I was like, you know, the drums on this joint was kind of dope. The song itself, not good. But the drums on the Young Bucks entrance, very good. I like Adam Cole's entrance music. But people seem to be over Adam Cole because it's all just baby, and then him going in there being the third Young Buck. It's embarrassing, absolutely embarrassing, and I would be ashamed to have been a promoter with this stuff on my show. You know, if you want to understand why they can't get over the hump, why guys like Roman Reigns can all call them little brothers that, you know, they don't take serious, it's because of shit like that. You know. It's intentionally silly stuff in this match that people are selling and shouting for. People don't buy into that stuff, man. They don't see the purpose in it. What was the point of the Dark Order kissing Adam Cole? What was the point? What's the point of anybody kissing Adam Cole in the middle of this match? Why is Adam Cole putting a camel clutch on a guy with his eyes closed? Not paying attention to his surroundings. You're in the middle of a fight and you got your eyes closed? Couldn't be me. But then again, I've been in fights. So, I don't know what to tell you. Post-match, Jungle Boy runs to the ring. He's got a chair. The Super Clique flee. Jungle Boy ends up beating up on Brandon Cutler. Not like it does any good because Brandon Cutler is an absolute J.O.B. Brown. He adds nothing. No, there's none, not nada, no momentum to be had by beating up on Brandon Cutler. He literally means nothing. Back to the first part of the show. The Inner Circle comes out there, of course. Everybody, Jericho soaks in, everybody singing his song, which, you know, we could cut out all this stuff and actually build up other people at some point. But no, Jericho's got to have his moment. Just like we don't need to have CM Punk's entrance every week. We don't need to have people singing Jericho's song every week. Jericho needs to have an entrance because he's a star. Cool. CM Punk needs to have an entrance, an elongated 3 or 4 minute entrance, just so he can sit at the announce table and be a disembodied voice for 2 hours. I don't know about that, dog. I don't know about that one. When you on a time crunch, you know, you could think about how many other people you could have put over in vignettes and promos and stuff like that. But you dedicated that time to people singing Judas. Like, dude, they've been singing Judas for a year. We have to be over this shit by now. Let's finally do something. Let's do something else, please. But no, we're still doing that. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of this Inner Circle thing. And that was because the American Top Team came out. And American Top Team, Dan Lambert talked about all the championships American Top Team brought to Miami. And they should have a parade for them. Then Jericho goes in his bag and does what to Paige Van Zant when he does this. Stephanie McMahon says that she's been following him around. She might be thinking of sliding into his DMs. And then he called her a bitch or a whore or something like that. Then he said that there's no more 5-on-1s. It's 5-on-5. He wanted a 10-man tag. Demanded Dan Lambert give it to him. Lambert says that all they care about are championships. And since Sammy's the only one with a championship, he's the only one who can make that 10-man tag happen. But there's a stipulation to it. And if you want the stipulation, you got to wait until next week. Because he can't stand to be in this town one more second. This led to Sammy Guevara cutting the worst promo of the entire bunch, and with no bass in his voice, with no force in his voice, with no command, and it was all garbage. I'm gonna kick your ass. Like, no, you're not. No, you're not. Junior Dos Santos is over there. Jorge Masvidal is over there. You're not gonna kick anybody's ass on that side of the ring. That side of the arena, off limits to you. You know, your arms look like linguine. There's no way you're going to beat up anybody in that stable. It's not going to happen. Maybe if Ethan Page twists his ankle 10 minutes before the match starts, you got a chance. But come on. This is why you can't book MMA fighters with these pro wrestlers, man. Nobody believes this shit. People can buy Hager, okay? Dan Lambert cut a pretty good joke on Hager about the size of his head. He said he had to put his shirt on from the feet up. That was pretty good. I ain't heard that one in a while. But Hager, okay, we can buy it. But the rest of them, Santana and Ortiz are just plain tough guys. We can buy them too. We can buy they'll go down fighting. They'll go down swinging. Jericho, Sammy. I don't know, man. I don't think Sammy Guevara's ever been in an argument, let alone a fight. So I don't buy it. You know, you have to have some type of physical credibility, and Sammy Guevara just doesn't have it. And Jericho's so old, he doesn't have it either, and so out of shape. But we'll see what the terms are. I'm guessing the terms are going to be if American Top Team wins, then one of them have to get a TNT title shot, which ought to be fine, I guess. You know, whatever. Who cares? Let's just get to it. I don't see why we had to wait till next week for that. So the next match, Los Superanas versus the Lucha Brothers for the AAA Tag Team Championships. And when I saw Los Superanas, I was like, okay, this is stupid. You know, okay. We got, and then I found out what Superanas meant. And it means the Super Frogs. And I was like, all right, who are the frog guys? I thought it was going to be just two guys, you know, and the Lucha Brothers was going to beat them. And then the real threat would attack after the match. And then in the middle of the match, as the match is beginning, CM Punk or somebody outed them as FTR. And they're like, they haven't done one flip yet. It's FTR, you know. And of course, they snatch the masks off and it gets little to no reaction because it's FTR. But FTR wins the match and wins the AAA Tag Team Championships. And I would have been more excited for this if they hadn't been dressed like frogs, you know. If they'd have just been Andrade's going to have two guys, any two guys he can find that can beat the Lucha Brothers for the tag team titles. And then he came out with FTR and then he went in there and beat them. That would have been great. It would have been great. And it would have set up perfectly FTR versus the Lucha Brothers at Full Gear, which I still think is going to happen, by the way. So this was fine. Okay. Them being dressed like frogs is okay. It's pro wrestling. All right. So on its face, this was fine. It was good to try to get some heat and to, you know, build up the storyline between these two guys, get FTR back in the title hunt. Good idea. Okay, let's see where it goes first. But they probably gonna have to win an eliminator or something like that to get the title shot, right? When they've already pinned the champions. In any event, MJF gets the payment from Andrade because he hired FTR, which is weird because why would he be paying MJF to use FTR unless they were, you know, he was his agent or something like that? Like, is he the agent of FTR? Because otherwise, that should have been Tully, right? He should have been paying Tully to use FTR because Tully literally is their manager. Why would he be paying MJF? Well, the only reason he would pay MJF is because they want you to know that the Pinnacle was involved with this. Okay, that's fine. You know, I like that. This is good. Andrade got over on the Lucha Brothers. But the question is, where do we go from here now? You know, now Andrade's boys, who aren't really his boys, are the tag team champions of AAA. How does that help Andrade? How does that help Andrade in terms of getting the Lucha Brothers to join him? Which is what he wants, right? David Mamet question number 1. What does your hero / villain / character want? Andrade wants the Lucha Brothers to come work for him. Okay. How is he going to go about making them come work for him? He's going to embarrass them, beat them up, or whatever. All right, cool. How is he going to do that? Well, he hired FTR to beat them up. Okay, cool. But now he's made this deal with MJF, and it's a one-time deal. So he beats them one time, and all of a sudden they're supposed to come crawling to him on bended knee for help? I don't see that. Now, would it have been smart to put Andrade in the Pinnacle? Or have a short-term relationship between the two groups? That would have been fine. It's not like the Pinnacle is doing much of anything anyway. He could just be there in name only. Because if you're going to have FTR fighting the Lucha Brothers, you could just call that a Pinnacle feud. Because MJF and Darby and Wardlow, they all tied together. So they're all doing something else. And nobody wants to see Shawn Spears. So you could have just said, for this time being, Andrade is a member of the Pinnacle. You know, yada, yada, yada. And then if it wasn't going to work out, you could just take him out later. And he could still be a heel, but he's not going to be on his own. I don't see why you wouldn't do that. You know, he seems to, especially since they were supposed to bring Ric Flair in with him, it seemed perfect that there was going to be some type of partnership between Andrade and the Pinnacle. And then Ric Flair could have been the conduit for both. But now Tully could be the conduit for both because Tully is the manager of FTR. And he could say, you know, we can refer to Ric Flair like your reputation precedes you. My good friend is your father-in-law. And he told me you are a hell of a talent. And I see that you are a hell of a talent. I want to welcome you into the Pinnacle. You know? And he could do his own thing. He don't have to, because he really can't cut promos in English. So he's not going to be a main competitor to MJF for the top spot in the Pinnacle. He's just a great secondary guy. Because Shawn Spears can't be that guy. He's the job guy, right? So Andrade should have get that second spot. That would have been fine. At least for now. Because he's not doing anything else, you know? He could at least look really good in these suits and hang out with other guys who look good in suits. And they could all talk tough about being guys in suits with money. And it could have been good for a little while. I don't see the problem with this. You know, maybe that's where they're going and they're just going to take their time getting there. And let's just say I hope so. Because it ain't looking too good for Andrade. His entire run in AEW has been an absolute abortion thus far. Speaking of the Pinnacle, MJF comes out there after this whole ordeal, says Miami smells like hookers and gasoline. He then started talking about mid-Miami and calling Miami mid. Then he called Darby mid and said they have a match tonight because the match was originally scheduled for tonight. But Darby isn't there, and everybody knows it. And Tony Schiavone is absolutely screaming on commentary about Darby not being there, and everybody knows that he's not there, and MJF is a coward for doing all this. Then Wardlow brings down the referee. They're going to force the referee to count out Darby. I don't even know what countouts are in AEW. Is it 10 or is it 20? I don't know, because nobody counts. In fact, Jim Ross, earlier in the night when the Young Bucks were outside the ring, was like, the referees need to start counting. Like, come on, Jim. That would be having rules. You know the Young Bucks don't like rules. In any event, the referee, in exasperation, starts to make the count. And then Sting shows up. Really good spot. Sting is, walks down the ramp. Wardlow and MJF is there. MJF shoves Wardlow into Sting. Sting drops Wardlow. Oh my word. Oh my word. And MJF flees. And they tease MJF and Sting. And you know what? I love that idea. I love that idea. MJF and Sting sounds so much fun. That sounds like it. And for MJF to get his first huge win, not saying that the Jericho win wasn't big, but it's clear that Jericho was, working this whole angle to put him over, and then to win in the end. For MJF, if he was to wrestle Sting and win, and beat Sting for the first time in AEW, that would be huge. That would be huge. You can't do it at the pay-per-view, of course. That's Darby and MJF. That's the match you're selling. But if you can do MJF versus Sting in the main event of Dynamite and have MJF beat Sting, oh, that would be awesome. That would rule. That would them being actually trying to put MJF over. Let's see if they do it. Let's see if they do it. Let's see if they got the guts to put MJF over Sting. I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to that. Legit. That could be fun. Where Wheeler Yuta gets absolutely destroyed by Jon Moxley. And the first time I've seen, I think, a real squash match on AEW, Wheeler Yuta barely got any offense. Orange Cassidy looked very disappointed in Wheeler Yuta, who looked like he got ran over by a train. Rightfully so. That's how you do jobs when you get jumped by guys and it's not some 25-minute rest hold fest. You go in there and you get a guy over. Orange Cassidy looked I thought he was going to turn heel for a moment. I thought he was going to kick Wheeler Yuta in the head or something. He looked pretty out of it as Wheeler Yuta laid there on the mat. But I'm guessing they're probably going to lean towards some type of Orange Cassidy, Jon Moxley match. I'm not thrilled about that one. That one, I don't see how that's going to help Moxley. The wheels are spinning off him already. All right, Serena Deeb was backstage. Serena Deeb said she's going to drag this division up to her level. And that while she was on her sabbatical, the division got too comfortable. Then she got attacked by Hikaru Shida. She didn't even get to finish the sentence. They fought. CM Punk talked about two things. One, everybody always gets attacked backstage, which is, of course, him being meta. It's meta commentary. Two, great set of hair on that Serena Deeb, which I thought was also cute. That was a cute line. To continue the backstage brawling amongst the women, Anna Jay got into an argument with Britt Baker. Britt Baker just showed up for no reason and called the Dark Order losers. Anna Jay was like, they're not losers. And then Britt Baker said, no, they literally just lost. They're losers, which of course is a big old dunk on Anna Jay. I mean, just put a dunce cap on her already. We just saw them lose. Then she said that Anna Jay is a follower because she hangs around with them. She can't think for herself. And then Anna Jay punched her and they started fighting. Okay. I actually didn't mind this. I just wish there would have been a more natural way of building to them having this confrontation. And I think that probably would have been a little bit better. It's just a nitpick. But I think that, Anna Jay was there to try to be upbeat and try to look at the positive side of the Dark Order, of them finally reuniting and all that kind of stuff. And then Britt Baker just strolled over without her heavies, by the way. Reba wasn't there. Jamie wasn't there. She just strolled over there by herself and was like, ha 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 ha, you're a loser. Just kind of like out of nowhere for no reason. It just all felt very contrived, but it worked out okay. Kiera Hogan lost to Penelope Ford, who was using the Muda Lock as a finish. I don't get it. Afterwards, Ruby Soho ran to the ring to beat up Penelope Ford because Penelope Ford punched her with the brass knucks on Rampage. And who cares? Like, really, who cares about any of this crap? Ruby is already cold as ice. You know, it's all it took was for you to super push her to the main event and then yank the rug from up underneath her. And now she's just another girl on the roster. So that was bad. Kiera Hogan, thick as oatmeal, not good enough for me to care about this whole thing. And the match was sloppy. And the match was awful. And it had no business being on television, which is usually the case. It had just... This is why WWE keeps these matches short, right? This is why WWE says, 2 minutes. You got 2 minutes of national television time to waste. It's all yours. Go do your thing. You got 2 minutes. Because AEW tried to be, you know, we're going to push our women. And it went out there and they shat the bed. Shat the bed hard. Changed the mattress. It wasn't good. What was good? Miro cut a promo. And he was cutting a promo on God. Says that he can't go home without a championship. Because he loves his wife, but he can't go home without a championship. And he says, have I displeased you? He says, how can you give him a body of granite and a neck of something? I think it was something soft, but I couldn't make it out. And then he says, why have you forsaken me? And then he started getting mad and he said, you will make me your champion again. This was really good. You know, this was awesome. Miro, look, some of the best storytelling spins out of, hey, this guy lost, and losing hurts. Losing sucks. Losing has consequences. That is a pinpoint of dramatic storytelling, which is why I've been beating this drum about, hey, how could the top rope just collapse in the middle of a pay-per-view main event and nobody discusses it ever again? That makes no fucking sense. That's some of the most offensive garbage wrestling and writing I've ever seen. You cannot have huge things just occur and then people are just supposed to pretend that it didn't happen. Especially when you actually fucking replayed it. It's one thing if it was a complete and total mistake. You know, it's another thing when you did it on purpose and just decided we're not going to try to explain it. You know, and Finn Balor is not angry about it. He's been on TV several times since then and has said nothing about the top rope falling apart. Compare that to Miro losing to Sammy Guevara, right? Miro lost in a match he probably had no business losing because Sammy Guevara just, I don't see why he was the guy. It just doesn't make any sense. And he is distraught about it. And he's lashing out. You know, he's not happy about losing. And he blames God for making his neck weak. You know, it's God's fault that he had broken his neck and he needs neck surgery. And that tornado DDT, damn God for giving him that. But there's still a part of him that still wants God's favor. And so he says, you know, he's gonna give people pain until you make me your champion again. You know, I love this. This is really good. This is excellent. And let the good times roll, Daddy, because here comes Hangman Page. And he's going to cut the promo of his life. A very WWE promo, by the way. They stole WWE's whole structure with this promo. What do I mean by that? One thing that you almost never see outside of WWE is a complete retelling of the story, right? Hangman Page came in and completely retold the entire year of storylines. You know, how him and his friends left their homes and other wrestling companies like Ring of Honor and New Japan. He made a promise that he was going to be AEW's first world champion. He lost. He got down on himself. He won the tag team titles. He lost the #1 contenders tournament there. He fell into a funk. He started drinking. You know, he lost confidence in himself, but the fans never lost confidence in him. They kept chanting cowboy shit, and then he started telling us what cowboy shit is. He defined cowboy shit for us. And so there's all these great things that are cowboy shit. You know? Like letting the past go. You know, taking a chance on calling my shot, even though I knew I could be embarrassed. Taking a chance on leaving Ring of Honor and coming to AEW and trying to change the world. Doing all, you know, leaving in the middle of my hottest run to go and see my child be born. All this is cowboy shit. And then he says, hey, I can't guarantee I'm going to win at Full Gear, but I'm going to give you guys everything. Blood, sweat, and maybe even some tears. But one thing I guarantee you're going to get is some cowboy shit. And I was like, yes. Yes, this was very good. This was the best promo Hangman Page has ever cut. Ever. This was good. This was solid shit, man. I really enjoyed this. They're going to fuck it up. I already know they are. As soon as Kenny Omega comes out there sauntering and cutting these sing-song promos, it's going to turn to absolute garbage. But for tonight, Hangman Page proves that he is a main event worthy guy. That was good shit. Now, that being said, he didn't really take a chance. Okay? I know it's mythology when it comes to AEW. You know, it's complete and total mythology. We took a chance on ourselves. It's just not a worker co-op. This isn't Young Bucks and Cody put their money together and created a wrestling company. This is fucking Tony Khan's shit. Okay? This is Tony. He has billions and billions of dollars, or access to billions and billions of dollars. You didn't bet the house on nothing. And he had a buddy in TNT, which guaranteed you was going to get a TV contract. This shit is not... Look, I understand it's kayfabe, right? But I know there's a lot of AEW fans out there who tend to believe this shit. You know? They took a chance on themselves. They left where they were comfortable. I'm like, hold on. Some of these people, Hangman Page being one of them, was never going to go to the top of Ring of Honor. At least I don't believe he would have. You know, the Young Bucks had pretty much burnt bridges everywhere they went. I know people think that they were the greatest tag team of all time and blah, 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 blah. No. People were sick of these assholes. The only people who could really deal with them were people who had never done business with them before. You know? Cody and Kenny, okay. But it was largely Tony Khan's pocketbook that made AEW what it is. Not any of these guys who... I left New Japan where I was happy and I had a family and yada yada. No, fuck you. You didn't do shit. If it wasn't for Tony Khan breaking the bank for Jericho and breaking the bank for Moxley, this shit would not still be here today. It wouldn't even got to the point where CM Punk and Daniel Bryan and all these other guys would be joining up. It's all because of Tony Khan being willing to spend the money. So while it's a good promo in kayfabe, it's a great promo in kayfabe, it's horseshit and complete kayfabe outside of the ring. But on this night, Hangman Page is top notch. He really killed it. Now, a second critique of this promo is because of his friends in high places. And he said it, you know, these are my friends. These were my friends. They allowed him to go home with the baby and everything and then come back and get his spot back. Right? That's not something you really would have seen somewhere else. Most people would have been like, you're going to go home in the middle of your hottest run. And he'd be like, yep. Ricky Steamboat did it, and look what happened to him. You know, Ricky Steamboat was the Intercontinental Champion, had one of the best matches ever recorded. And then went to Vince and was like, man, I need some time off. It's like, what? My son's about to be born. That's like, what? We got all this money to make, and you're like, now I want to go home? You couldn't want to go home doing all this fucking idiocy you were doing. Now you want to go home? That's complete unreliable stuff. You know, it was a different era. I'm pretty sure he ain't got no choice in the matter now. all the paternity. Look, I don't want to get into the old Michael Knowles paternity leave stuff. I don't want to get into that. I'm not saying it's a right thing or a wrong thing. What I will say is Adam Page is very privileged that AEW is willing to leave his seat open and not move forward with somebody else. And I think that kind of booking is actually going to piss people off eventually. But I think we're really going to see what happens once Adam Page becomes champion. Because now we're guys like, okay, what's the second story? This has been the first overall story that they've been able to tell. And this has been a really long-term story. I give them credit for that. But in order for them to complete the story, they had to give him that block of time to go off and do something else. You know? They had to. So, it is what it is. But I don't want to sit here and be like, oh, yeah, you know. There's still some critiques to be had. But this promo was excellent. It was an excellent promo. The main event, Bobby Fish versus Bryan Danielson. No idea why this was the main event. I don't know. You know. But the match was good. Bobby Fish is a good worker. He's just a little bit elevated in the way of age. Danielson sold a lot. You know. It's almost like these guys are, I don't know, man. Like, they are working with their friends. So they're giving these guys who they have no business. You can't be of value to the company if you're putting over everybody. You know, and I'm not saying that you're losing, but Bryan Danielson worked from underneath with Bobby Fish a lot in this match. You know, and it just wasn't necessary to me. You know, and while they had a good match, I think that good match is essentially normal for Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson. He doesn't really have bad matches. So, while it was a good match, it's just one of many good matches. And I don't think it's anything too special, but it wasn't anything garbage. Was it something that I would have waited 2 hours to see? If I wasn't going to watch the show. Let's say if I wasn't going to watch the show as it is. I'm sitting there with the channel clicker in my hand. And you tell me the main event of your show was Bobby Fish versus Bryan Danielson. I may give it a few minutes, right? But I can tell you right now, within the first couple of segments, there's plenty of opportunity for me to change the channel, right? You didn't build up the main event at all. If I'm sitting there with the clicker in my hand and I'm saying, give me a reason to change the channel. Let's see. Just in the opening couple of segments, Los Superanas would probably be one of the reasons to change the channel. Because I'd have been like, who is this? Why is this happening? You know, maybe interest would have kept me watching it. Maybe. You know, and I'd have been like, okay, maybe. But certainly the Super Click versus the Dark Order, I would have changed the channel. And plus, that's 4 matches in, which means it was probably almost an hour into the show. And there was no build-up whatsoever for the main event of Daniel Bryan versus Bobby Fish. There were no promos between the two of them. There was no vignette putting over the match or saying that the match meant anything. Because the match did mean nothing. The match meant nothing. You know, there was no thought in my mind that Bryan Danielson could lose. And if Bobby Fish won, what did he earn? Nothing. And then, so, I probably wouldn't have sat through this whole show, if we're being honest. If I wasn't going to watch this show as already, to do the reviews, or just because I like wrestling, I probably wouldn't have sat through this whole show. And that's really the one of the weaker points of AEW's writing of their shows, is you have to ask the question, if you were an average Joe, sitting there with the remote in your hand, would you finish this show? That's generally what I think. And Raw, they at least attempt to sell you on a main event. At least they try. They'll give them a promo segment or something. It's very rare that Raw has a main event where you don't talk to any of the top guys before we get there. You know, the guys are going to be in the main event. We're not going to talk about them at all. We're going to mention that the match is happening, but we're not going to show them. We're not going to, you know, have them cut short promos, not even 30-second promos. You know, we're not going to do anything to build up this big main event. And then there's nothing on the line. And there's no heat between the two guys. So it's like, who cares? You know? And it's unfortunate because I think these guys worked really hard. But Tony Khan's lack of storytelling, his lack of booking, doesn't really do these guys any favors. You know? Look what they did for, I believe it was Suzuki and Danielson. They actually put in some effort for that. You know, there was actually a video package and everything. Now, maybe I went to the bathroom and I missed it. Okay? The video package for Bobby Fish versus Bryan Danielson, but I didn't see it. You know? But what needed to happen, they needed to say, or just say something like the winner of this match gets the last spot in the Eliminator tournament. Since you were talking about the Eliminator tournament all night anyway, say, you know, hey, it's an 8-man tournament. There's 7 people picked at random, but 2 guys have to fight to get in. You know, it's going to be Bryan Danielson versus Bobby Fish. The winner will get in that tournament. You know, they'll be the only 2 guys to get in that tournament. You could come up with some kayfabe reason why they have to fight for it. Say, well, they're the last 2 guys to sign to AEW. Everybody else in the tournament has tenure. You know, whatever. They have at least 10 wins or have at least 5 wins or whatever. You know, but we're going to give these guys, based on reputation, we're going to give them an opportunity. But I didn't see that. I didn't see it. So to me, it was like, good match, but for no reason. All right, so let's talk about the Eliminator tournament since I mentioned it a couple of times. Don't care. I saw Danielson in the tournament, and I was like, he's going to win. And I didn't see anybody on the list that I could see beating Danielson. So Danielson is in the tournament. We're now just going to sit back and watch Danielson have good matches. Going to have a match with Dustin Rhodes. I am really excited for that. If Dustin Rhodes can compete at the level he was a year or so ago, when he was really good at 50, this match could rule. If he's going to compete at the level that him and Malachi Black had the last time he was out there on Dynamite, it still might be good because I don't think Danielson will have a bad match, but I would be disappointed. Hopefully I'm wrong and it turns out to be pretty good. I am glad to see so many people shitting on this tournament bracket, especially seeing that 10 from the Dark Order is in this tournament. It's like, bro, okay, come on. All right, okay, come on. Now, you know, look, let's be honest here. Why is 10 in this tournament? Why is Lance Archer in this tournament? They're pushing 100 guys at once, and they put none of them in the tournament. You know, they put none of them in the tournament. And look, you look at the King of the Ring, and you look at the brackets for the King of the Ring, right? And you say to yourself, maybe, okay, wait. Why is Jinder Mahal in this tournament? Why is, you know, Ricochet in this tournament? But most everybody else was a solid mid-card choice, okay? Solid mid-card or upper mid-card choice. You know, even Jinder to a degree. With the right presentation, solid upper mid-card choice. But in this Full Gear Eliminator, Eddie Kingston is in this tournament. What has Eddie Kingston done? What has Lance Archer done? You know? Why is Orange Cassidy in it? You know? I don't know. I don't know, man. And I don't know how you fix this problem without, of course, putting MJF in it and Darby and all those guys. I mean, I'm not saying put those guys in it. But why is Dark Order 10 in this joint? That shit got me fucked up. You got me fucked up if you think I care about that match. I don't care about that match. Just have the match you want to have then. Just have Orange Cassidy versus Jon Moxley at the beginning of the tournament, if that's what you want to do. You know? But, you know, it's cool. I'm fine with you building to matches in the tournament. Let's just do that. But I don't like that you're sacrificing Powerhouse Hobbs for that. And I don't like the fact that you put 10 in this tournament. And I don't like the fact that Hobbs is in the tournament and he ain't going to win. I don't like Moxley. Okay, I don't know what you're going to do there. Maybe Moxley gets to the finals and it's Moxley and Danielson in the finals, which of course makes the most sense of all this crap. If it's not Moxley and Danielson in the tournament final, then what are we doing this for? But ultimately, we're just watching Bryan Danielson have good matches. Go in there, have a good match with Dustin. Go in there, have a good match with Eddie Kingston. Or try to have a good match with Lance Archer. Then we could tell the story on the other bracket about Moxley and Orange Cassidy and their heat between the two of them. Moxley comes out of that tournament, out of that side of the tournament, and we could have ourselves a good old WWE. How many times did Danielson and Ambrose tangle in WWE? Somebody in the comment section let me know. I'm pretty sure it was years. You know, I don't think they had a proper main event feud, because I think that the push for Ambrose as a main event guy didn't happen until Danielson was already hurt and forced into retirement. But the tournament itself looks weak. There's only 2 guys in the whole tournament that could even possibly win or even remotely have a shot at being world champion. And since Moxley already had his turn, and that's how AEW works, is you get your turn. You have to wait your turn. He's not a threat to win the title back. So we're all just building up here. I thought maybe they would push the tournament back so Omega could drop the belt, and then they can do Omega and Danielson in the tournament final. But okay, this works just as well, you know. But this also tells me that there is an opportunity that Adam Page could possibly lose, and that they still build to Danielson versus Omega for the title by having Danielson win the tournament and Omega beat Page. So, you know, there's some intrigue there, you know, and there's some possibilities there. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, donate to the channel. Thank you guys for your time, and I'll talk to you guys later.